Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. We've got a surprisingly unusual case to talk about, and it involves a woman trying to get a protection order against her own father after he helped her ex-husband get released from jail. It's a strange situation, and the family drama is definitely on full display. Hey, usually when we cover cases like this, the behavior is bad enough that people joke about it. But today's story isn't just dramatic, it's truly personal for the people involved. There are some unexpected family details, and the whole situation takes a turn you don't see every day. So, let's jump right in and break down exactly what happened.
Jason O'Brien, you need to unmute. So I'm
Yes,
looking
ma'am.
for your, did he tell you, is he off dealing with his other case?
He just got the verdict in, and he's coming on right now, I believe.
All right, Mr. Johnson, you with us?
Oh, hello, Your Honor. Yes, I am.
Okay, so we'll take your matter up now. Then if Brooke O'Brien would, you are there. Jason O'Brien, we have you. And now we have Mr. Johnson, who's representing Mr. O'Brien. And 2532 is our case. You don't have to stay there, Ms. Bears, if you don't want. And let me get the documents up before me. As you see, I'm going to be looking back and forth as I've got an electronic file, and I am listening, but looking at what's been filed. Thank you. So let me put Ms. O'Brien, have you raise your right hand. Brooke O'Brien, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. And then Jason O'Brien, raise your right hand with me. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So I'm going to start out here. I've had an opportunity, as I said, to review. There's lots of information provided on all sides, and Mr. Johnson is representing Mr. O'Brien, and he's going to have the opportunity to ask questions of Ms. O'Brien and to present the case for Mr. O'Brien. So first off, Ms. O'Brien, then as I said, I've looked at everything, and let me just kind of open something up here again so I have it before me. There it is. Before I allow Mr. Johnson to ask any questions, what would you like to say that you haven't already put into evidence, or something you want to focus in on? Or
Your Honor, I'm just here again today to request a 1-year protection order, sadly, against my father. My father's harassed and threatened and sabotaged a lot of things regarding a DV situation as well. That was submitted as well, that he bailed out my husband in a DV situation. The mental and verbal abuse has continued into my adulthood, as I've submitted that as well. I've endured this behavior for far too long, which is why I'm here today. My father's lied in his declaration about his Facebook accounts. I've proved that in exhibits that he's perjured himself. He's used multiple Facebook accounts to harass and
you're
reach
referring
out.
to your second petition, your second response? Is that what you're referring to, those exhibits?
Well, I wasn't allowed to respond to any other exhibits prior last court date.
I have the second declaration of petitioner.
Then yes, then that was submitted.
Okay.
That is what I'm talking
Those
about.
pictures that are appended to that, is that what you're talking about? Or
Yes.
okay.
And then on top of this, he's used those accounts for years. My father's sister, Natasha, also lied in her declaration by falsely stating that I obtained and shared content without her knowledge or permission. These were messages clearly Natasha sent to me by herself, also proven in the exhibits I provided. Natasha's no longer here with us as she has passed away. So having her to deal with this on her deathbed is quite concerning in general, for her to write anything as she was medicated on morphine to pass peacefully. I believe my request for protection rises to a level of unlawful harassment, and I believe my father needs to be accountable for his behaviors that he is all of his witnesses attested to in their declarations. I believe he also, the only way that this will stop and this behavior will stop progressively will be because of legal repercussions.
So you're asking for an order that would do what? What would you want?
Protect me from all the things that I've submitted to the courts, ma'am.
So what does that mean? No contact of any kind with your father, not allow him to contact you through family, through friends, through social media, to stay
Correct.
away from you, a geographical distance.
Yes.
Just looking at your petition here to be clear what you're asking for. Let's see, you said no harm to you, no contact with you, no stalking, stay 1,000 feet away from your person, your residence, school or daycare. I didn't see any kids. Yeah, so the
Yeah, her name's Grace
child.
back, and yes, I want her involved as well for a year.
And all right, so all of those things you asked in your petition, that's what you're asking for.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Let me just kind of review again to see if I have any particular question. Well, Mr. Johnson, why don't you go ahead? Do you have any questions of Ms. O'Brien?
Yes, Ms. O'Brien, isn't it true that you received financial assistance from your husband as recently as January?
How is my husband allowed or even able to give me financial assistance?
Not your husband. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Your father. Your father provided financial assistance to you and your husband as recently as January, true?
Since January, because we worked for him on in his construction company, yes. But that was also paid wages that were earned.
So those Venmo transactions, $400 here,
which are directed
cetera,
towards Destin Kendrick, and as well as the money that's obtained by my father for work has nothing to do with the harassment. So let's move on from that.
Well, I think it's telling. You were asking your father for money repeatedly as recently as a week before filing this order. Isn't that true?
That's untrue, actually.
Well, we have the.
Yeah, a week prior to my domestic violence situation, so not technically the restraining order.
Okay, but your father was Venmoing you money, Venmoing your husband at your request, true?
Untrue. It was for paid wages that were worked on his job site.
I see. And so the paid wages were in irregular increments, like $400 here, $50 there,
My
another
financial
$75.
situations are none of your concern, actually.
So, Ms. O'Brien, let the question be finished and then answer it as best you can. So, Mr. Johnson, want to rephrase the question, and then Ms. O'Brien, then you answer the question.
It was pretty straightforward the first time, Your Honor.
I want to hear it because they were talking over each other. So, Mr. Johnson, what's the question again?
Thank you. So it's your contention here today that each and every time that Mr. O'Brien was Venmoing and sending cash money to you and your husband, it was strictly in compensation for wages.
Correct, and it's an ex-husband, thank you.
Okay. And so over the course of the previous, and that was the last transaction was about a week before you filed this restraining order, isn't that true?
To Destin Kendrick, yes.
Okay. And that was while the two of you were still together prior to the domestic violence situation.
Yes.
And the domestic violence situation that you're referring to throughout is Justin and yourself. Isn't that right?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. What was the question?
The domestic violence situation that you've referred to numerous occasions is the domestic violence situation involving your husband and you, true?
Yes, if you read the declarations, that would be true.
And Mr. O'Brien, my client, the respondent, was not present during any domestic violence situation between you and your husband that Mr. Kendrick, your husband, was arrested for, true?
Yes, true. It was midnight. I don't think anyone should be at my house at midnight, but yes.
Got it. So at midnight, you and your husband get into some sort of a domestic violence
Let's
situation.
pause for a second.
Let's pause for a moment here. everyone in this situation has made choices that added to the tension in this family. But there is absolutely no justification for any form of physical harm in a relationship. It doesn't matter how close you are or what the argument is about. It's never acceptable. This reminder is important because situations like this can spiral quickly when emotions are high. People often react without thinking, but responsible behavior and clear boundaries are essential. With that in mind, let's move forward and break down what happens next.
Ms. O'Brien, you need a what? What are you asking for?
To get into details about the domestic violence is pretty triggering for me, and that's not to be discussed under what is here today. It's harassment. So I don't like to discuss further into my domestic violence situation. Besides that, this has added up to my dad bailing him out of jail. That is the only
You're saying
parts of that.
That it's not relevant for Mr. Johnson to ask about what happened between you and Dustin Kendrick.
Yes, it's none of his concern nor his
Okay.
business.
Well, a lot of things start to open up when we come to court, but I'm going to turn to Mr. Johnson about that. Mr. Johnson, maybe you can tell me where you're headed so I can make a decision about that objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I think I have the answers that I was looking for already, so I can move to the next series of
All right.
questions. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So your husband is your direct first cousin, isn't that true?
If that's what it states in the thing and what he wanted to pursue, yeah. If that's what you guys...
He's the son of Mr. O'Brien's sister, isn't that right?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Brien's sister was dying of brain cancer throughout this situation, true?
Lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
Lung
and
cancer, I'm sorry.
That's kind of disregarding and sad that you guys couldn't get that right. Rest in peace, Natasha.
Yes, may she rest in peace. It was lung cancer, I apologize. So she was dying of lung cancer.
Correct.
And let me back up a second. So by your own testimony, you were working for your father, you were in a relationship, father-daughter relationship with your father, up to the point that you and your husband get involved in a domestic violence situation at midnight. Is that right?
Yes, but it's also pursued into my dad as a pattern behavior that this has not happened just more than once, which has been submitted as well in my declarations.
Got it. So you were very upset that you found out through a third party planning to bail your husband, your cousin, his nephew out of jail. True?
Wouldn't you be upset if your father didn't believe that's in court record that happened and he decided to bail someone out in regards of strangulation, his own daughter, and putting his hands on me? I think anybody would be upset regarding that.
Ms. O'Brien, this is a difficult situation for everyone. Asking the attorneys questions or what they would feel is not relevant. I'll ask you to answer questions that you can. All right, so
Which I am doing my best
make
to
extra
do.
comments. Don't ask questions of the attorney and how they would feel about something. Simply answer the question that they pose. So, Mr.
Pretty
Johnson.
Thank you, Honor. Mr. Bryan, it's also possible that your father wanted to give his dying sister the gift of having face-to-face contact with her son before she passed. True?
I wasn't
Well,
knowledgeable about that, so that's really for him to
speculation,
decide.
Mr. Johnson. I don't require Ms. O'Brien to answer
called a guilt
a
trip.
question that she has to divine what another person is thinking.
Okay.
So you don't have to answer that question.
Fair enough. So the reason I ask you that, Ms. O'Brien, is because it sounds like you're speculating on what your father's reason is for bailing your cousin out of jail.
So
True?
what would you like me to respond to that?
True or false?
Yeah, I'm very angry that he did that because I'm his daughter.
School. Some people might look at this situation and say the real trouble started years ago with family issues that were never sorted out. When problems are ignored for too long, they tend to show up in moments exactly like this. What stands out most is how she speaks as if her father showed no concern for her feelings, yet she never stopped to consider how her own choices affected him, or how odd situations like this get worse when everyone only sees their own perspective and no one takes time to understand the other side. Honest communication could have eased a lot of the tension before it escalated. It's clear that emotions have been building for a long time, and now everything is surfacing all at once. Hopefully this helps explain why the conflict feels so intense.
So you speculated
I
as
did
to
not
what
speculate anything.
his intention was in bailing his nephew out of jail.
Oh yes, let me
True.
respond to that. Yes. His intentions were not pure. I've received text. Please don't interrupt me. I've received text from Natasha, it's being sent to me that he wishes I was dead and hung, and that he wishes I was stoned to death and beaten to death. And I think that's sufficient enough to why we're here today, of why I don't want any contact with my own father, because as a mother of myself, I would never say anything about my children that way. So let's touch there.
Ms. O'Brien, you included the third-party text that you received in your original petition.
Third-party text in regarding to what?
Which you just stated, that he had said some ugly things.
Yes. So why is that acceptable for anybody to tell that to anybody?
Ma'am, you included those texts.
Yes, I did.
That you received somehow from third parties in your original petition, isn't that right?
I received them because she sent them to me.
You included them in your temporary, in your request for a temporary order, true?
True.
And you were denied that temporary order, weren't you?
This got continued. It wasn't denied, it was continued.
No, you were
I don't think
denied.
we have to parse that. We're at the hearing to determine if an order will be issued. And so I do see that is part of the evidence, and we're going to talk about it all. So Mr. Johnson, want to move forward from what happened about whether a temporary order was issued or not. And let's get to the meat of this, whether the court should or shouldn't issue this order.
So, so it is accurate that you received tens of thousands of dollars of financial support from your husband in the year leading up to you requesting this order, or from your
Father.
Negative.
Thanks.
Tens and thousands of dollars seems pretty absurd to me.
Okay. Received.
So once you get those numbers, maybe you can put that on paper.
Look, this isn't an argument.
It's not an argument, but we're here in court today to decide.
Ms. O'Brien, just slow down, Mr. Johnson, slow down. So Mr. Johnson asked if you received tens of thousands of dollars from your father, and what is your answer?
False. No.
Okay, so Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. But we've provided to the court the specific transactions for just 1 month, and it totals $2,850. You saw that, correct?
Correct. And that's not, it's for paid wages.
So
no, let me talk if you want an answer, please.
All right.
It's for.
It was a yes or no question, ma'am. It was a yes or no question. Here's the next question.
Wonderful.
You're claiming that you worked for your father. Can you tell me what job you did working for your father?
It's under IQ Construction, and he doesn't actually have workman's comp, so it was to help him do dump runs. So he didn't have to hire somebody to do so.
So it's your contention that you.
And this isn't about money. This is about the harassment.
It's your contention that you did dump runs, totaling almost $3,000 the last month.
And labor.
To filing.
And labor, yes.
So, this is actually the second time you filed a petition against your father, isn't that true?
This is the first time for a no contact order.
Okay. You filed this
Where did you
separate
find the second time?
Here, let me come back to that. I'll get you the date. Hold on one second. Let me just go to the next question. So you also sent text messages to your father that would be characterized as ugly. Isn't that right?
Yeah, but this is the harassment on him, not me, because I do stand up for myself and what's wrong and what's right. I can be ugly if you are ugly towards me, but at this point, this is towards him.
Well, it would
This
be
is about
relevant
him
for the
harassing.
court to hear your comments to Jason O'Brien if they're within a particular amount of time here. So, Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
You've used the F word toward him in text?
Oh. Do you want a yes or no to that?
Of course, I want a yes.
Well, yes, I have, as he told me he wanted me dead. So, I mean, why don't you
So
stand up for yourself?
you're characterizing the conversation where
Where's the proof in these ugly messages
He's-
that have been submitted to the court?
you're
So just answer the questions, Ms. O'Brien, if you can. And that's the
Well, I said
evidence,
yes the
it's the
first-
testimony. So, Mr. Johnson?
Your Honor, you're characterizing the argument that you and your father had about he perceived that you were being dishonest, and he said, "Or demised little child."
Demised little child, I'm an adult.
Well, there it is. She likely weakened her own case the moment she admitted that the protection order was more about expressing her frustration with her father than about any real concern for her safety, her belongings, or her reputation. By saying that openly, she essentially showed the court that this wasn't about protection but about sending a message courts need clear, genuine reasons backed by actual concern, and emotional disagreements alone don't meet that standard. It's unfortunate, because moments like this often turn a difficult situation into an even more complicated one. Let's see how the rest of this plays out.
What's the response in that text?
Well, the response in that text is telling him to F-U-C-K, etc. Right? So that means you were offended, true?
Where's the evidence of these messages? Because that's not been submitted.
Let me worry about the evidence, okay?
Okay.
I'm just simply
That's
asking.
So,
crazy.
Ms. O'Brien, evidence is testimony. Answer the questions as best you can. This is not an argument you're having with Mr. Johnson. I'm trying to get evidence so I can determine what to do here. And you're arguing with the attorney isn't helping. So please
yes, I
just
was
answer
offended.
the questions.
So, ma'am, the earlier protection order was filed and denied on December 10th, 2018. True?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So you read the declaration from Natasha saying that that she did not directly send you the communication between her and Mr. O'Brien. True?
I don't know about that one.
You read Natasha's declaration?
Yes, and it's false.
Okay. And so and Natasha passed away within the last week.
Yes.
So the text that he sent you about the little child, he said in that text, your lies have gone far enough. Good luck. True?
Untrue.
Well, that's what the text reads, right? You lied I think there's a typo. Instead of lies, it's
I was
lied.
able to prove it. It was perjured.
You lied, have gone far enough. Good luck. True?
Untrue.
So, I guess I'm not clear on what part you're talking about was perjured. One of your primary claims is that he made the little child comment. Are you now saying that he did not make that comment?
Yes, he did. You asked if
Okay.
it was offensive to me, and I said yes.
That's right, but now you're saying it's perjured or something. I am not following you.
The declaration of Natasha's is.
Okay,
Because-
but we're now turning to the text. This is the only text that was sent directly to you that is part of the evidence of this case. And that text continues with more writing from Mr. O'Brien, and it says, "You lied, have gone far enough, good luck," right?
Right.
So he's upset about what he perceives. I'm not asking you whether you're lying or not. He's asking he's responding to what he perceives is lying by you, right?
Right.
And you submitted a response to that, and the response was, go fuck yourself. True?
True.
You were angry with him, right?
The words are the words, yes.
Yeah. But they're not the words of someone who's afraid of someone, are they?
I'm not afraid of my own father, but I am. This is for me to elaborate on. So excuse that. Yes, to your answer. I'm not scared of my father. Go ahead.
Go ahead. It's fine.
I'm not scared of my father. I'm not scared of him, but at the same time, what he's doing is wrong. And how he talks to people is wrong.
Got it. So you brought the petition to punish him. Is that right? You're upset that he bailed your cousin out of jail. That's what you're upset about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't trust him in his actions either.
Got it. So you're not under substantial emotional distress because he called you little child, right?
That's the least of my concerns.
Okay.
I'm under mental stress and emotional stress because of what he's pursued in text messages that have been submitted of evidence to the court that he wishes I was dead and stoned to death. And that's pretty mentally destroying for anybody, if you ask me.
Okay. So I'm going to object to facts, not in evidence. There's no evidence that Mr. O'Brien said that he wanted her dead or that he wanted her stoned to death. It's just the record is what the record is, Your Honor.
Which is a pattern of his behaviors. He was harassing me prior to him even
So, Your Honor, I'd like
getting me out of jail.
I'd like a ruling on my objection. I'm objecting facts, not in evidence.
Right. I am looking at petitioner's exhibit, and I'm looking at a text message that, where was that? That didn't say, it said, I just wish Destin would get smart, walk away from her and leave her hanging. Brooke needs to fucking just be hung, beaten, but still live, but be taught spelled TOUGHT, a lesson. That's what I'm looking at. So is that?
That is what I referred to.
Yeah. Okay. So Mr. Johnson?
Okay. So it doesn't say anything about you being stoned to death.
But I think the other sufficient evidence is enough to make sure that's
Ma'am,
harmful
it's a yes
to
or a
someone.
no. It does not say that you're to be stoned to death, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Doesn't-
that's what was read.
Okay. Doesn't even say that you're to be killed, does it?
Beaten to death?
Says,
Is that what I heard? Beat?
But still live, ma'am.
But still live. Wow, that's real refreshing.
Fine. And it was a message that he sent not to you, but to his own sister, right?
And there's also more evidence that was, that does say stoned to death and different evidence that has been submitted. So maybe we can read through that too.
Has not been submitted, Your Honor. So we, because it doesn't exist, frankly. So the text messages, there are lots of text messages where he communicates love and affection to you. Isn't that true?
No.
Your father's never told you he loves you?
Any parent would say, I love you at some level or another. Yes.
Okay, so your
That
father
doesn't
has
disregard from the last 3 months of harassment. You can love somebody and it still not work out.
So he was harassing you while you were working for him, and he was paying you. Is that your testimony?
Not while I was working with him and all that, but there's prior to the whole you throwing the money in there as well. This isn't about the money. This is about the harassment.
I think that the last transfer of money was January 28th, right?
Because you don't mix business and pleasure.
Well, it's generally not a good idea to blur the lines between family matters and personal relationships. Mixing the two in the wrong way only creates confusion and unnecessary problems for everyone involved. Situations like this remind us how important it is to keep clear boundaries. When families respect those boundaries, disagreements are easier to manage and issues don't escalate as quickly. Hopefully, this situation encourages better choices moving forward.
So when Jason was released,
When Dustin was released?
Dustin was released,
I want to make sure your client is still with us. All right.
I am.
Brian.
I'm sorry. I had to walk away, Your Honor, for a moment. Come on back.
okay.
All right, go ahead,
When
Mr.
Dustin, thank you, Your Honor. When Dustin was released, are you aware that your father took his nephew into his own home?
I'm well aware. My own husband
are you aware that your father took his nephew to his probation appointment the next day? I think that's all I have for this witness at this time.
So is Brian, anything else before I turn to Mr. O'Brien?
No.
All right, let me just see if I've got in particular. I don't think I do. So, Mr. Johnson, any evidence to present from your client?
I don't
Other
think
than,
it's,
of course,
I
he's
don't-
in the court.
I don't think it's necessary, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. O'Brien wants to address the court.
All right, so I'll have you pose questions to your client.
Okay. Mr. O'Brien, you've heard the testimony of your daughter. Is it true that the money that you were sending to her husband and her family was compensation for work that they were doing for your business?
Yes and no.
Okay, can you clarify that?
Yes, I can. Thank you for asking. Over the years, I have helped Brooke numerous times with cars, vehicles, schooling, as such as her mother has too at times. There have been there's been multiple occasions where I've helped her pay her rent, sometimes her bills throughout the years, as such as her mom has too. And but during a lot of the money that I've given has not always been generated from them working for me. It has been because they might have been slow on bills or money might have been coming in a little bit slower, but Dad was there to give them money. When I had the opportunity for them to work, I put them to work when they wanted to work. Hopefully that answers your question.
So let's go to the month leading up to the filing of this petition. It looks like it's almost $3,000. You know if that was for work or that was as a gift? Can you speak to that?
Yes, sir, I can. For that month, yes, it was for work.
Okay. What about prior to that?
A little bit of everything. You know, I would send $50 here, $30 there. You know, if she had worked for me for 4 or 5 hours, I'd pay her for that time, because it was pretty tough for Brooke to find a job because of my granddaughter and stuff. You know, it's tough because of the scheduling on my daughter's and her part. So Brooke would work for me when she could find time to work for me. And there's times being that she didn't have income coming in that month. So I would help them out with bills.
Got it. So, and what was the relationship like prior to you telling your sister that you were planning to bail your nephew out of jail?
I bailed my nephew out of jail to say goodbye to his mother. I didn't do it despite my daughter, to threaten my daughter in no way. I knew getting him out was going to be a situation, but I took that chance for him to say goodbye to his mom. Now, him ending up back in jail was not my doing.
Okay, so the next question that I have for you is the kind of ugly messages that you sent to your sister about your daughter. And it might be horrifying to the judge to hear a father send a message to his sister saying she deserves to be beat and hung but still live, so that she can learn a lesson. Can you provide some context to the court for that? Because it's kind of a shocking comment, and that alone might create bias. So I want the court to know what your perspective is on that.
Thank you for asking me that so I can define that statement. In no shape or form would I want anything to happen to my kids, my daughters.
Then why say something like that in the first place? Instead of sending negative comments through her relative, a healthier approach would have been to help her understand the reality of the situation from the start. A little honest guidance early on could have prevented a lot of confusion and stress later. Moments like this show how important it is to communicate clearly rather than letting frustration build up. When people take time to explain things calmly, misunderstandings become much easier to avoid.
And the picture that she's painted, and stop playing victim and accept accountability in her life for herself and her self-actions. And I understand what I said was not right, and I'll 100% take accountability for that. I could have rephrased my words in a different manner. But at the time, I'm hurt. I'm hurt because of her actions. I didn't raise my child this way, neither did her mother. You know, and so I said some things that I regret, and I do. But at no point ever would I want anything to happen to my kid. Period.
You separated from Brooke's mother when she was about 12?
15.
15, sir.
15.
Yeah.
And you the girls stayed with their mom temporarily, and your boy too, and then you had your son live with you. Is that right?
Yes and no. My daughter Megan lived with my ex Tracy. Brooke at that time was moving out, living with her boyfriend Caleb at the time.
At 15?
I was in Shelton, Washington, doing a job. I came back. I got custody of my son. Well, I got custody as in his mother and I came to a certain agreement that Brandon can come live with me. And ever since then, I've had Brandon since middle school all the way through high school.
Got it. And so were your daughters resentful of the fact that you took your son through high school and Brooke had to go live with a boyfriend?
I can't speak for Brooke's emotional content at that time, but I sensed jealousy, yes, because Brandon is the youngest. And at that point, I was able to give more to Brandon because my life was different. My business was different. My means were different. I sensed that, yeah, and I tried to compensate that by giving them cars, buying them cars, getting them to things, and it just never worked out for me. It's a tough lesson. Tough lesson.
Did you invite Megan to come live with you with her child when she divorced with her husband?
No, I did not. She ended up just showing up, and I opened my house up to her and gave her a place to live.
And she lived with you?
Yes, sir. She did.
So, so it's not. What would you say to their claim that you've been emotionally abusive to the girls?
I wish I could say what I want to say, but I find it to be false. I find it to be false. Not every parent's perfect, nor am I. But it doesn't take away the love I have for them. I never hit them. I never abused them.
Well, that was going to be my next question, because Brooke claims that you were physically abusive to her.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Do you want to provide some context on the I'll be your demise, little child? Your lies have gone far enough. You want to provide some context for the court on that statement? That's the only statement.
As in the statement, as in I will be your demise?
That whole statement, you can talk about it for the court, please.
What I meant by that comment was I'm tired of her lies. I'm tired of her not accepting accountability in life for her actions and the decisions in which he's making to continue having to come to me asking for help. When, as a parent, I confront her to try to change the subject. What can we do to prevent you coming to me every month and asking me for help, or every other month? And it goes for all my children, just not Brooke. When I have that parenting talk to them, they get offended because I don't open my, I'm just gonna say, because I don't open my wallet as much as I used to. And I want them to be held accountable for their actions. And that's what that meant. I want her to be held accountable.
Did you mean it as a threat?
No, absolutely not, sir. Absolutely not.
Were you upset that your daughter...
Threatening my daughter in any shape or fashion affects my relationship with my grandchildren. I have to be nice to them to have a relationship with my grandchildren.
Have you loved on your grandchildren?
I'm sorry, sir?
Have you loved on your grandchildren?
Yes, he has.
They're my life. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I make a better grandparent than I make a better grandparent than a parent. But my grandkids are my life. I mean, I got a grandkid that was just born 2 weeks ago that I haven't seen because of this.
So,
I can't have it. You know, the people that are suffering are my grandkids. My kids aren't going to sit here and say, hey, look, he's a bad grandparent. They won't say that because I'm an awesome grandparent. They drop off their kids to my house, previous to her filing against me. My grandkid was at my house.
So, Mr. Johnson, why don't you pose some questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. Were you upset that your daughter married her cousin?
Yes, absolutely.
Were you worried about her having children with him?
Yes, absolutely.
Abuse can show up in many different ways, and sometimes the emotional harm lasts even longer than the physical kind. It becomes especially difficult when the hurt comes from someone who already plays a complicated role in the family. Situations like that can leave people confused about how to cope or where to turn. Emotional pressure, mixed messages, and long-standing family issues can leave deep marks that take time to heal. This is why understanding support, clear boundaries, and honest communication are so important in situations like these.
I have no more questions for Mr. O'Brien, Your Honor.
May I speak?
Yes, I was just, give me a moment here as I see if there's something I have a question on. So, so Brooke O'Brien, anything in response? You said a lot already and provide a lot of information, but anything additional?
So, I appreciate the financial assistance that my father has helped me with, But this is not what this case is about. He is simply doing his parental responsibilities like most parents do for their children in hard times. That does not excuse the
What,
behavior and
past the age of
harassment.
18, Brooke?
Mr. O'Brien,
I'm
please
sorry, Your Honor.
hold your
Sorry, Your
peace.
Honor.
Hold
Sorry,
your
Your Honor.
peace and let Ms. O'Brien speak. So go ahead. Ms.
I've
O'Brien, go ahead.
experienced that. That does not excuse his behavior or harassment. The emphasis on money is not irrelevant to this case, nor should it affect this. This is about the behavior, which is he's using and makes himself appear to be a supportive father, which he has been financially, like he has said in his statement, and he's thrown money at a lot of things, but it's not ever his money that we wanted. It was him to take us fishing or his time. I also believe my father uses money to attempt to buy the love, but it's not really helpful, and it doesn't fix anything. He bailed out Destin out of jail 2 days after he was served, and he threatened to do so in messages prior to that, which proves he had ill intentions of him getting bailed out. And that's what I have to say about that.
Great. So, Mr. Johnson, anything on behalf of your client? Any statement?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, I'm looking at helpfully, Ms. O'Brien, you put, I forget what document it was. It was your declaration that you filed where you kind of summed up the 6 points of what you were making here. So I have to find was there unlawful harassment committed, and I can't find that. This is a horribly failed relationship. It looks, there are statements made that are shocking by your father. But I don't find that they had the intent, nor any more than what we call fighting words under the law. And the more recent events is what we're dealing with. Sounds like with the declaration from your mom and the divorce that occurred about 12 years ago, or at least you moved out of the purvey of your father's house about 12 years ago, is what I understand. And your mom's statement that supports you, that your father was not, was abusive, but I don't have any substantial corroboration of that. So I'm not making any findings there. I'm glad to hear that you're not afraid of your father, but these orders have to be based on the law. It's not whether your father's doing something wrong or doing something right, or how he talks to people right or wrong. That's not for the court to issue an order on, and I don't find on all of the information here that there's been unlawful harassment as defined by the law. So therefore the court cannot issue an order. However, it's obvious that folks don't want to have contact with each other, so you're going to have to make those decisions for yourself and of course for your children. But I don't have the basis of evidence here to issue this order. So that's the end of the hearing.
May I speak?
And this order of denial will be in the court file for all parties to access.
Okay, may I speak to Mr. O'Brien?
I'm not going to take court time to do that. So we'll do that on your own if you feel so inclined.
I don't. I just want to get a wham bam deal.
All right, we're going to move on.
All right, that brings us to the end of today's video. If there's one thing to learn from this situation, it's to avoid making choices that create unnecessary family complications, especially ones that can affect future generations. Keeping healthy boundaries and making responsible decisions can prevent a lot of long-term trouble. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like button. If it wasn't for you, the dislike button is there too. And don't forget to leave a comment below. I always appreciate hearing your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss any upcoming content.